Welcome to Radio Channel 13, where eerie stories and mysterious tales come to life. Tonight marks the debut broadcast of our channel. We're thrilled to have you join us on this journey into the unknown. To kick off our show, we invite you to listen to our channel's theme song, a haunting melody that will set the mood for an unforgettable evening. We hope you have a thrilling and captivating night with Radio Channel 13.
Shadows waiting there, whispers like the wind's caress, make my heart ache in despair. In the dark, the moon's pale light, cold winds chill me to the bone. Old shadows still return, leading me into a realm unknown. Eyes shining like stars with cold as ice, breaths that scream deep inside, memories press downwards, release, guiding me through every haunting dream. In the dark, nightmares drift, shadows waiting there, whispers like the wind's caress, make my heart ache in despair. In the dark, the moon's pale light, cold winds chill me to the bone. Old shadows still return, leading me into a realm unknown. Eyes shining like stars but cold as ice, breaths that scream deep inside, memories press downwards, release, guiding me through every haunting dream. Shadows waiting there, whispers like the wind's caress, make my heart ache in despair. Haunting paintings from the past, a chilling smile full of dread. Footsteps on a phantom road, marking dreams that have long been dead. Eyes shining like stars but cold as ice, breaths that scream deep inside, memories press downwards, release, guiding me through every haunting dream. Let go now, just let go. Don't lose your way in endless night. Though the path is far and cold, fear remains deep in my soul. In the dark, nightmares drift, shadows waiting there, whispers like the wind's caress, make my heart ache in despair. In the dark, nightmares drift, only sorrow left within me. Shadows slowly fade away, but the fear stays with me eternally.
Right now, we're about to dive into John's story. We invite all our listeners to tune in and get ready for an intriguing experience. Let's begin.
I've been a night shift taxi driver for over a decade. The night is my canvas, painted with the stories of countless passengers. But there's one night that still haunts me. A moonless night when the city seemed to breathe with an unnatural stillness. It started like any other shift. The streets were dimly lit, the air thick, promise of rain. I had just dropped off a couple at a hotel and was looking forward to a slow night when my radio crackled with a new fare. The pickup location was an old part of town, a place where shadows lingered longer than they should. As I approached the address, I saw them. A man and a woman, standing in the faint glow of a street lamp. They were dressed in dark, old-fashioned clothing, like something out of a different era. The man had a stern look, his eyes piercing even from a distance. The woman clutched a small, ornate bag, her face pale and expressionless. I pulled up to the curb and rolled down the window. "Need a ride?" I asked, trying to sound cheerful despite the unease creeping up my spine. The man nodded, and they both got into the back seat. The air in the cab seemed to drop a few degrees. "Where to?" I inquired. "Just drive," the man replied in a low, commanding voice. "We'll tell you when to stop." I glanced at them through the rearview mirror. The woman's eyes were fixed on the window, but it felt like she was staring through the glass, beyond the city into some dark void. The man's gaze was intense, never wavering from the mirror. I felt a chill run down my spine. I started driving, the silence in the cab thick and oppressive. The city lights blurred as we moved, and an unnatural fog began to roll in, swallowing the streets and buildings. Minutes felt like hours as I navigated through the fog. I tried to make small talk, hoping to break the eerie silence. "So, where are you folks headed tonight?" The man's eyes bore into me through the mirror. "Just keep driving," he repeated. I bit my lip, focusing on the road. The fog grew denser, and soon I could barely see a few feet ahead. My instincts screamed at me to turn back, but a strange compulsion kept me going. The streets seemed to twist and turn in ways I didn't recognize, leading me deeper into a part of the city I'd never seen before. Suddenly, the woman spoke, her voice barely above a whisper. "Turn left here." I obeyed, and the cab lurched onto a narrow cobblestone street. The buildings here were old, their facades crumbling and covered in ivy. There was no sign of life, no lights in the windows, just an overwhelming sense of abandonment and decay. The street ended at a large, wrought iron gate, partially hidden by the fog. The woman's eyes finally left the window and met mine in the mirror. "Stop here," he said. I parked the car and turned to face them. The man's gaze was still fixed on me, and the woman's expressionless face now seemed almost sorrowful. "Wait here," the man instructed as they exited the cab. They walked towards the gate, which creaked open as if it had been expecting them. I watched them disappear into the darkness beyond, feeling a strange mix of relief and dread. Part of me wanted to drive away, but another part was inexplicably drawn to whatever lay beyond that gate. Minutes turned into what felt like an eternity. The fog thickened, and the silence became almost deafening. Just as I was about to give up and leave, the gate creaked open again. The man and the woman emerged, their expressions unchanged. They got back into the cab without a word. "Take us back," the man commanded, his voice colder than before. I nodded and turned the car around, retracing our route through the fog. The air inside the cab felt heavier. A tangible presence was pressing down on me. I glanced at the rearview mirror and saw the woman's reflection, her eyes now locked onto mine with an intensity that made my skin crawl. As we drove, I noticed something odd. The streets we had come from seemed to have changed. Buildings looked older, more decrepit, and the few streetlights that worked flickered like dying candles. It was as if we had entered a different time, a different reality. The man's voice broke the silence. "Stop here." We were in front of an old, dilapidated house. It looked abandoned, its windows boarded up, and the garden overgrown with weeds. The man handed me an old, weathered bill, far more than the fare. "Keep the change," he said, his voice echoing with an otherworldly resonance. They got out and walked towards the house. I watched them disappear into the shadows, the door closing behind them with a final, resounding thud. The fog began to lift, and I felt an overwhelming urge to leave. I drove away, my heart pounding, the eerie silence now replaced by the hum of the city coming back to life. I returned to my usual routes, but the night felt different. The city seemed darker, more foreboding. I couldn't shake the feeling that I had crossed into another realm, a place where the boundaries between the living and the dead blurred. When I finally got home, I examined the bill the man had given me. It was old, almost ancient, and the currency was something I'd never seen before. The face on the bill was that of a stern man, eerily similar to the passenger I had just dropped off. Sleep eluded me that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw their faces, old, empty expressions that seemed to hide a deeper, darker truth. I wondered who they were, where they came from, and why they had chosen me to drive them. The next night, I returned to the same spot where I had picked them up, hoping to find some answers. The street was different. The buildings were newer, the streetlights brighter, and there was no sign of the cobblestone road or the wrought iron gate. I asked around, but no one knew of any old house in that area. It was as if the place I had driven to didn't exist. I even checked historical records, but found nothing that matched the description of the house or the strange currency I still had in my possession. Days turned into weeks, and the memory of that night began to fade, but the unease never left me. Every time I picked up a passenger, I wondered if they were somehow connected to that couple, if they too were part of the strange, otherworldly realm I had glimpsed. One night, months later, I found myself driving through the same part of town. The fog was back, thicker than ever, and the air was heavy with an unspoken menace. I felt a familiar chill as I approached the area where I had picked them up. This time, I saw a figure standing under the street lamp. It was the woman, her pale face illuminated by the dim light. She was alone, and her eyes were filled with a silent plea. I stopped the car, my heart pounding in my chest. She got in without a word, and we drove in silence. I knew where she wanted to go. We returned to the cobblestone street, the wrought iron gate, and the dilapidated house. She got out and walked towards the gate, pausing to look back at me. Her eyes were filled with sorrow, and for a moment I felt a connection, fleeting understanding of her plight. Then she disappeared into the shadows, leaving me alone with the oppressive silence. I drove away, the weight of the night pressing down on me. I knew that this was not the end. They would return, and each time I would be drawn deeper into their world, a world where the living and the dead coexisted in a delicate, terrifying balance. I never spoke of these encounters to anyone. Who would believe me? But every night as I drive through the city, I keep an eye out for the couple, knowing that one day they will return, and I will be pulled back into their dark, mysterious realm. Now, as I write this, I realize that my story is not just a recounting of a single night, but a testament to the thin veil that separates our world from the unknown. The passengers we pick up, the roads we travel, the shadows we encounter, they are all part of a larger, darker tapestry we may never fully understand. So, the next time you hail a taxi on a foggy, moonless night, remember my story. You might just find yourself on a journey beyond the ordinary, a ride through the abyss where the living and the dead share the same road. And as for me, I will continue driving, forever haunted by the memories of that fateful night, always on the lookout for those strange passengers who turned my world upside down. For in the end, we are all travelers on the same dark road, and sometimes the most unexpected rides are the ones that stay with us forever.
Thank you so much, John. That was truly a chilling and haunting story. We'd love to hear your thoughts on John's tale in the comment section below. But now, let's take a short break before we dive into our next story. Stay tuned. We're about to begin our second story, featuring the tale of Miss Scarlet. Dear listeners, get ready to be engrossed as we delve into this fascinating narrative. Let's dive in.
The thing I experienced, even now, I still remember vividly from that night. About 3 years ago, when I was living in an old house on the outskirts of a small city. The house was aged but had a strange allure, as if it had stood through many generations, holding untold stories within. Indeed, I was a night owl. Therefore, the time I felt comfortable going to sleep was around 3 to 4 a.m. Though every night, when people were sinking into sleep and my roommates were snoring, I was still wide awake. However, I found myself feeling incredibly bored. To pass the time, I would often stay in the living room, reading books or watching movies, enjoying the tranquility of the late night. I had maintained this habit for a long time. Being alone at night had never frightened me. Instead, I would joke with friends that this house was too peaceful for anything strange to happen. But it was starting from that night that my night owl habit was shattered by a strange encounter, making me never dare to sit alone in the living room at night again. It was an experience that was incredibly terrifying for me at that. I still remember that night was a Friday and around 2 a.m. I was sitting on the sofa, reading a horror novel. It was a very quiet night, extremely still. It felt like even the sound of a falling needle could be heard clearly. Except for the sound of pages turning, there were no other noises in the house. Even the wind howling outside the window didn't bother me. Everything was so peaceful that it made me feel secure. When I was about to put the book down and go to bed, I suddenly heard a strange noise from the basement. It was a faint sound like whispering, coming up from below. At first, I thought it was just the old house settling, but then the sound became clearer, as if someone was trying to communicate. Curious and somewhat anxious, I decided to go down to the basement to check. The basement of the house was very spacious, filled with old furniture and covered in cobwebs. I turned on a flashlight and slowly descended the stairs, each step feeling heavier due to the anxiety. When I entered the basement, the light from the flashlight illuminated a dark corner where there was an old mirror. This mirror had been there for a long time, but tonight it looked different. The light from the flashlight reflecting on the mirror's surface created strange images. I approached the mirror and looked inside. That's when I saw it. Pale face, with deep black eyes and a wide-open mouth as if screaming silently. The face was not mine, but that of someone else, a ghost. I stood frozen, my heart pounding, unable to tear my eyes away from the horrifying image. Then the face in the mirror began to move. It came closer, as if trying to escape the mirror and reach out to me. I backed away, terrified. My feet felt like they were nailed to the floor. The ghost in the mirror continued to advance, its eyes seeming to pierce my soul. In a moment of panic, I heard the whispering more clearly than ever. It was a sorrowful voice, lamenting a tragedy that had happened long ago. The ghost spoke of a woman who had died in this house, betrayed and abandoned, her soul unable to move on. I finally regained my composure and fled the basement, slamming the door shut and leaning against it, breathing heavily. The whispers still echoed in my mind, but the ghost had vanished. Since that night, I never dared to go down to the basement alone, especially at night. I told my roommates about the story, and they didn't believe me. But for me, it was a terrifying memory that I could never forget. The whispers of the ghost still haunt my dreams, reminding me of the frightening encounter in that haunted house. I could invent a few more things, like in horror movies, such as being haunted and followed by that ghost after that incident. But fortunately, that didn't happen, and I didn't want it to. I assure you that what I went through was not an illusion or a product of imagination. The whispers, the face in the mirror, and that eerie presence were entirely real. It was truly, truly terrifying.
Thank you for the story, Miss Scarlett. It was truly fascinating and spine-chilling. Dear listeners, we've just journeyed through two strange and captivating tales. If you have any great stories to share, please send them our way. And now we move on to our segment, Horror Stories from Around the World. Stay tuned. The creepy legend of the station that sends people to hell. In 2004, Japanese forums were abuzz with an urban legend about a 2chan user named Hasumi, who stumbled upon Kisaragi Station, a train station that didn't exist and subsequently disappeared under mysterious circumstances. There is something truly enigmatic and inexplicable, leading people to simply believe and fear it. This is one such story, about a station named Kisaragi. In Japan, there is an online forum called Tooch, and a girl named Hasumi was a user of this forum. In 2004, Hasumi boarded a late-night train at 11 p.m. The train ran for 20 minutes without stopping, which was highly unusual. Hasumi mentioned that this familiar route typically had stops every 7 to 8 minutes. While on the train, she posted a topic on Tooch to share this strange occurrence. A few people online replied to her topic, suggesting she check with the driver. She followed their advice, but received no response from the driver's cabin. Anonymous. User 2004-0108 25. Why don't you go to the front and ask the conductor? It would be terrible if something happened to the conductor. Try it out. Hasumi 2004-008. Since the train doesn't seem to be stopping anytime soon, I'll go check. There's a curtain or something blocking the window, so I can't see the conductor. I'm on a private railway in Shizuoka. Anonymous? Try knocking on the window. I tried, but there's no response. The train then passed through a strange tunnel and stopped in the middle of the night at Kisaragi Station, a non-existent station in Japan. Frightened, Hasumi continued to communicate with people online in the forum thread. According to her anxious descriptions, the station was completely deserted and the surroundings were equally empty. She couldn't even locate her position using her phone's GPS. Hasumi called her family, asking them to report to the police. But even the police thought it was a prank call, as Kisaragi Station did not exist. As the night grew darker, Hasumi kept commenting back and forth with people on Tooch. At 2 a.m., she reported hearing sounds like bells and taiko drums nearby and saw a shadow of a one-legged man. Everyone on Tooch panicked and insisted this was not right, urging Hasumi to leave the station through the tunnel and find her way out. After leaving the tunnel, she encountered a seemingly kind stranger who offered her a ride. Ignoring the warnings from everyone on Tooch, Hasumi got into the stranger's car and posted another message at 3:44 a.m. We are driving up a mountain. Can't imagine there's any place to park up here. He hasn't said a word. I'm going to try to escape. That was her last message. Despite the commotion on the forum, Hasumi never posted again. No one knows what happened to her. Here are some excerpts from Hasumi's chat. Anonymous 2004-0108 107 2004-0823. This train is the same one I always take, but it hasn't stopped at any station for 20 minutes. Normally it stops after 6 minutes, 7 or 8 minutes at most. I'm one of only 5 people left on the train, and they're all asleep. 108. Have you gotten off the train or anything like that? 2004-1 is right. Are you sure you're on the right express train? Express train? Maybe everyone is right. Perhaps I did take the wrong train. I'll wait a little longer. If anything strange happens, I'll ask for advice. 2004-100835. Why don't you try going to the front and asking the conductor? It would be terrible if something happened to the conductor. Try it out. Since the train doesn't seem to be stopping anytime soon, go check. Hasumi 2004-09. There's a curtain or something blocking the window, so I can't see the conductor. I'm on a private railway in Shizuoka. 2002-126. Try knocking on the window. One the Thursday, I tried, but there's no response. Can you see anything outside the window? Like the names of the stations you pass by? The train started slowing down after leaving the tunnel, although normally I don't remember any tunnel at all. This train started in the Shin Hamamatsu area. It seems the train has stopped at a station. You're not thinking of getting off, are you? We just stopped at Kisaragi Station. Should I get off? I've never seen or heard of this station before. You should get off right away. You should get off right away. You should stay until the final stop. Hasumi, when did the train depart? I got off the train. The station has no name. The train I took left at 11:40 p.m. I'm sure of it. 2-4. I couldn't find anything about Kisaragi Station. So that means Hasumi's train has been going for an hour? Okay, I have to go take a bath now. I can't find Kisaragi Station anywhere. And 4. I was going to catch a train back, so I went to find the timetable, but I can't find it anywhere. Train is still here. Would it be safer to get back on? While I was writing this, the train left. On 181. 2004 0106. Is there a building nearby with a lot of people inside? It's cold, so take care of yourself. I'm going to leave the station to find a taxi or something. Thank you, everyone. 2004. Good idea. Be careful. Yahud. The last train of the night stops at a nameless station. I bet it won't be easy to find a taxi. And so, Hasumi fell into the second dimension. 2004. There are no taxis or any vehicles at all. What should I do now? 187. Find the station staff or a nearby police box immediately. Call on police number. How about calling a taxi company? No. You have no other choice but to find a police box. One over box. If there's a phone booth nearby, look up the taxi company directory. Hasumi, I called home and told my parents to pick me up, but they don't know Kisaragi Station either. They said they'll look it up on the map and come to get me. I'm scared. What about the other passengers on the train? Are you the only one who got off? 2000 searching Yahoo. I also searched for this station on the internet, but I couldn't find any station with that name. Are you sure you're near Shinhanamatsu? I'll try searching Yahoo. I just tried to find a phone booth, but there isn't one. No one got off the train earlier, so I'm all alone. This station is definitely named Kisaragi. Anonymous? Sometimes phone booths are located outside the station area. Okay. First thing is to get to the station office and check the timetable to see when the next train is arriving. Might be inside a ghost station. I hear the sound of drums in the distance. I don't think I can walk any farther. What on earth is this place? What on earth is this place? Perhaps it might be the sound of a train. 237. Call the police and explain the situation to them. 2 on 37. Run away. Run away. I called the police, but they won't take me seriously. If you're just fooling around, I'm gonna go home and sleep. Just keep calm and good luck. Just in case, let us know your name, address, etc., so we can contact the police if anything happens. 2004 01 040. Thank you. My name is Hasumi. I'm using my real name in my email address. I feel so lonely. 2004. Is there anyone who knows this place? Maybe you're tired. Maybe you're tired. I'll walk a little farther and then go back. The drum sounds are getting louder. Please be careful. Please be careful. 2004. Oh, I also live in Shizuoka. I'm looking up Kisaragi Station in a railway timetable right now. Wait a moment. Thank you. I found the way back. There was a man nearby who was kind enough to help me out. Thing is, he kept silent the whole time. What should I do? 2004, Rome 1. This is going from bad to worse. 2004. Wait. Is he really safe? Really, you should just wait until the police arrive. Will they call you back? 2188. Oh well. Did you ask him if he knows where the station is? 2004-88. Maybe this person doesn't know the area, and that's why they're silent. I feel like I'm being tricked. This man looks so different from everyone else around here. I'm so scared. Hasumi, I know you feel very tired, that you should trust your instincts and run away from this man. Really, you should. 313, 2004, 019, 223. Thank you, everyone. My battery is almost out, so I think I'll stop here. Is this just an urban legend or a true event? No one knows what happened to Hasumi. Urban legends have an uncanny ability to blend fiction with just enough reality to unsettle and captivate. Hasumi's tale of Kisaragi Station remains one of Japan's most enduring mysteries, haunting those who dare to ponder its veracity. As with all urban legends, the line between truth and imagination blurs, leaving us with an eerie story that lingers long after the last word is read.
Beneath the moon's cold light, a train rolls on with whispers that invite. Tracks stretch long, but the end is unknown. A station where no one should have gone. Echoes of the past, a ghostly wail through the darkened days where spirits sail, lost in a realm where shadows reign, searching for a way, but it's all in vain. Kisaragi, where the lost souls tread in the silence, hear the whispers dread. Through the mist, in the night so black, no turning back from the haunted track. Neon lights flicker, painting fears on the walls, as the train moves slowly with a haunting call. Faces fade like phantoms in the air. In Kisaragi's grip, caught in despair. Echoes of the past, a ghostly wail through the darkened
secrets lie concealed in Kisaragi's grasp, realities repealed. Kisaragi, where the lost souls tread in the silence, hear the whispers dread. Through the mist, in the night so black, no turning back from the haunted track. So if you hear a train in the dead of night.
That wraps up today's show. If you have a spine-chilling story of your own, don't hesitate to send it to us via the email address in the description below. We'd love to share your experiences with our listeners. Thank you for tuning in, and we look forward to seeing you again at 8 p.m. every Saturday and Sunday. Until then, stay curious, stay tuned. Dear listeners, you can share your stories with our channel in two ways. Either by sending a Word document for us to narrate, or by recording a clear audio of yourself reading the story. When you send in your story, please include your full name and address so we can pin it in the comments section for easier interaction with other listeners. We look forward to hearing from you.